Think about the last time you walked into a room and immediately sensed who held the power in it. Nobody announced it. No one said, "I'm in charge here," or "pay attention to me." And yet somehow, within seconds, everyone in that room already knew. That's not an accident. That's not charisma in the way most people define it. That's something far more precise and far more learnable than you think. Most people believe respect is earned through what you say. The right joke, the right comeback, the right story that makes people laugh or admire you. So they talk more. They try harder to be interesting. They fill silence because silence feels like failure. But here's what most people never realize. The more you talk to earn respect, the more you actually signal that you need it. And needing respect is the fastest way to make sure you don't get it. Think about how this works at a deeper level. Respect isn't really built through words at all. It's built through pattern recognition. Other people are constantly, mostly unconsciously, scanning your behavior for consistency. Do your actions match your words? Does your body language match your confidence? Does your reaction match the situation, or is it bigger or smaller than it should be? This scanning happens far faster than conscious thought, which is part of why first impressions form in seconds, long before anyone has actually gotten to know you. It gets even more interesting when you look at this through the lens of mirror neurons, a concept in psychology describing how our brains respond to observed behavior almost as if we were experiencing it ourselves. When you appear calm, other people's nervous systems pick up on that calm. When you appear anxious or desperate for approval, that spreads too. This is emotional contagion in action, and it means the energy you carry into a room often gets returned back to you, amplified. This is where almost everyone makes the same mistake. They try to control how others see them through explanation, explaining your value, justifying your decisions, defending your choices before anyone even challenges them. Every one of these behaviors, even when well-intentioned, communicates the same underlying message. I'm not sure you already respect me, so let me convince you. And status, as strange as it sounds, is rarely won through convincing. It's recognized almost silently through demonstrated self-assurance. So what actually builds real respect? Without saying a word, it comes down to 3 behaviors. The first is stillness under pressure. When something goes wrong, when you're challenged, criticized, or put on the spot, most people react instantly, defensively, sometimes with their voice rising or their words rushing out faster than usual. That reaction, even if it feels justified, reads to others as a loss of control. A brief pause before responding does something powerful. It signals that you're not being driven by the moment. You're choosing your response to it. This single habit, more than almost anything else, is associated with what people describe as quiet confidence, because true confidence rarely needs to raise its voice to be heard. The second behavior is economy of movement and words. People who feel the need to constantly fill space, whether through nervous talking, over-explaining, or restless movement, are unconsciously signaling discomfort with silence. Silence to an insecure nervous system feels like a threat that needs to be filled. But to someone operating from real self-respect, silence is simply neutral. It's just space. Learning to sit comfortably in a pause, without rushing to explain or perform, is one of the most underrated status signals that exists, because it shows you're not dependent on constant validation to feel steady. The third behavior is consistency between your word and your action. This might be the most important one, because it's the hardest to fake and the easiest to notice, even subconsciously. If you say you'll do something and you do it every single time, people begin to trust your word without needing proof. This is where cognitive dissonance plays an interesting role. When someone consistently sees your actions align with your words, their brain builds an internal model of you as reliable, and that model becomes very difficult to shake, even under pressure, even during disagreements. Respect built this way isn't dependent on charm or performance. It's structural. It holds up because it was never based on convincing anyone in the first place. Now here's the part nobody expects. None of these behaviors require you to become colder, quieter as a personality trait, or emotionally distant. They simply require you to stop performing certainty you don't actually feel, and instead build real certainty from the inside, slowly through action rather than explanation. Confidence that has to announce itself is usually compensating for something. Confidence that doesn't need to announce itself has usually already been proven, mostly to yourself, long before anyone else noticed. This is also why so many naturally respected people seem almost unaware of their own influence. They're not performing status. They're simply operating from a stable internal foundation, and other people's nervous systems respond to that stability whether they consciously register it or not. Respect in this sense isn't something you chase. It's something that accumulates quietly every time your calm holds under pressure, Every time your word matches your action, every time you resist the urge to fill silence with noise. True power is rarely about controlling other people. It's about controlling yourself. If this changed how you think about respect, confidence, and quiet influence, subscribe. There's more to explore about the hidden psychology behind how people read status, character, and self-control without a single word being spoken.